Alright guys, Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. What I've got for you today is a reaction with a bit of analysis of what looks to be an epic guitar duel. Before we crack into it, a huge shout out and a massive thank you to Rabbi Rabbs, Glenn Kelly, Stephen Williams, Rebecca Hay, Falcon Sooner and Dale's Ghost. Thank you so much for your continued support on Patreon. Be yourself of the means and inclination to do so. Check out patreon.com/JBF Music. I think I pointed the wrong way there, probably that way. So the aforementioned Mr. Rabbi Rabbs was kind enough to give me a description as to what was going on here, so I had some way to navigate through the madness. He's also put together a description of what's happening, which will do a much better job than I will of ham-fistedly explaining things, which I'll put in the comments and also the description. You also have him to thank for the very cool video title. So in a nutshell, it seems like the bands in Japan, specifically, I've got my notes up here, oh damn it. It seems like bands in Japan, specifically this area, do a lot of free shows. I believe it's pronounced the Nagoya sidewalk. And what I think we have here, correct me if I'm wrong please in the comments, is the pronunciation will be the guitarist on the left, Washiyama, and the one on the right, Tsuge. I'm going to guess there. Do correct me because I know a lot of you guys actually kind of speak Japanese and know how to pronounce these things. So let me know. But basically, the incestuous nature of band scenes, everyone kind of knows each other. These guys are playing. A guy I used to play with on the right here has come along. The other guitarist has been gracious enough to go, here you go, you guys have fun. I'll take a little tea break for a few minutes. Or quite a few minutes, I think it might be a 12-minute guitar duel. The name of the band, Suspended Fourth, is a type of chord. It's basically when you have a fourth instead of a third. So something like this. The let's gain. Often resolves down. So kind of a Van Halen type chord if you want a point of reference. Something that Bandmade use quite a bit as well. But as always, too much from me. Let's go into this. Just before we do, you will probably have noticed a slightly different, and I do hate to admit, lower quality setup. This is, well, it is a temporary thing, but how temporary that is, I still don't totally know. I just want to say thanks again for bearing with me through these tumultuous times that I find myself in. Let's go for it. The modern technology where you have batteries that are strong enough to power all these amps is quite outstanding. And they've not skimped either. That's like a decent kit setup. They could get away with just sort of a hi-hat right in a crash. I suppose he's got a smaller setup and he's got one tom, so you don't have to carry too much. Very cool here as well. You know someone's got a good bass tone when it sounds good through like someone just recording on a phone or a handheld camera. Lots of spank in it. Laying down a good groove here. Oh cool. See, playing Dorian here, I'm gonna guess it's A, or B. Might be a semitone higher. Yeah, it sounds like it's in B flat. Yeah, B flat Dorian. So, like, Dorian's one of these ones I often reference, like Santana, because it's got kind of Latin vibe, but if you listen here, it's just kind of like a funky sound to it as well. Like that bend specifically, that is just like instant Dorian. The guitar's starting to come in with a bit of wow over the top. Doing a syncopated funky rhythm. And now he's doing a little Benny. So just going between the root and the seventh, so keeping everything kind of, it's like a nice simple way to start off a jam, so everyone knows kind of what key they're in, what you're playing over. And he's given plenty of space for the guitarist just playing those two notes with a much cleaner tone than I've got dialed in, and that wah to make it funky as well. Right, this is probably going to be a very pausey video. You know by this stage what you're getting with these all the time. What I wanted to point out there is, if you listen to the bassist, he's playing very staccato, so not letting the notes ring out for very long. This is a really good way to make things kind of funky. So rather than just being like, boom, 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 it's like a do-do. The real trick is to play the notes shorter while still keeping it on or slightly behind the beat, and that's when you get kind of really funky stuff happening, and him and the drummer are just locking into a really nice groove here. So they all went to that different chord there. It was cool. It's there, boom, 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 instead of boom, 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 boom. It just keeps things punchier. There's more space, and it just sounds funkier, for lack of a better term. Lovely little pauses. So that was cool. This guitarist on the my right, might be your left, might be your right as well. The one off screen came in with quite a lot of distortion, but I realised the band wasn't kind of pushing it up quite to that limit yet. It's just roll the volume down with the volume pedal, and it's kind of like mellowed out to the background. So this is like a musician who's taking a gamble on a dynamic pop that hasn't happened, and he's dealt with it fantastically by just fading the volume out, making a little pop happen, and listening to the band and seeing where the jam's going. So you can hear the he's got the gain right down again, going back into the pocket with the drummer, the bassist. It's a lovely tone this guy's got. Spicy. So there he's letting notes be. They're probably a second apart. Let's see if I can take a punt on where they'll be. Something like that. I think I've got it wrong, but he's letting them ring into each other rather than just. Which, if you listen to the bit before, he's doing that kind of funky staccato thing as well. I'll go a bit further back. So it's all kind of staccato, leaving that space kind of funky, sharp and stabby. And then here, well, let's try and. So that would be an easier way to play it, but he's letting the notes and just go up. Semitone to that kind of crunch that you can hear there. I've got much more gain than him, so it's a lot messier. Just a cool dynamic shift here. Pickups, okay, so there, talking about dynamic shifts. This is a problem. You get me to listen to a guitar solo and pick up on everything. So you might have, if you manage to hear this sound where it kind of goes, it gets more trebly. Well done, what he's done. If you watch his right hand very closely here, there, he's flipped the pickup selector down to this pickup, which is going to be much more trebly than the neck one. Apologies if this isn't picking up on the camera due to the nature of this setup. I can't see exactly what I'm doing, so apologies in advance if things have been cropped off. This will hopefully be a better position to hold my guitar. So on some sort of pedal, probably a booster again. Oh, I might just need a delay. Yeah. So yeah, talked about dynamics like a minute ago, and basically the guitarist playing the rhythms, keeping his dynamic the same. The drummer and the bassist, the drummer in particular, hitting a bit harder to give the guitarist more of an oomph to solo over, for lack of a better term. Depending how people are playing does affect how you play as well. Someone's playing very softly, you're going to be less inclined to kind of let rip. If they're hitting it hard, it's a weird one because the space is getting filled up. For me personally, anyway, you have a bit more confidence to kind of let loose and maybe hit some sloppy notes and stuff because take some chances and that kind of thing. Because the noise floor is higher, so people aren't going to hear my mistakes so much compared to someone's just tickling the drums. Then you want to make sure things are pretty pristine. Not that he's doing this, but just from a musician point of view. Cool, yeah, so I was just going to say in terms of dynamics as well, he's gone way up to your reverb, kind of probably... all the way up there, so it's higher and the solo's kind of elevated. The drums have just changed the rhythm here again to give it a new pop, to give it a little extra dimension because it's going somewhere, so they don't stay on the exact same groove for too long. Just taking the snare more. Same with the bassist here, and dun 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 dun, and then doing there's a really cool fill here actually. Coming up. Boom, 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 and then it looks like he's going for eighth notes. No, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so the bass is almost going for like almost a kind of walking bass line, but like a rocked up version of it. Okay, so there's a few things going on there. Guitarist looking up here. Signaling I'm ending the solo to the rest of the band, right? I mean, eye contact, a little nod, it can be as simple as that. It sounds to me like both the guitarists are playing the same line after that. So this must be a song that they both know or a jam that they're both familiar with for them to be able to play the same line in unison like that. I don't think there's enough of we call it the force. Enough of if anyone's strong enough with the force to spontaneously just play exactly the same line and the same phrasing. By the force, it's like sometimes things happen by mistake live and everyone just, for unknown reasons, without eye contact, realise it's going to happen and you all just roll with it. And I don't know why it happens or how it happens, but you just roll with it, and often it ends up being better as a result because everyone's just kind of done this extra jam bit, and then that might become part of the song. But yeah. So his turn for the solo. Points again, if you notice the bum 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 bum, the kind of funky staccato playing. Bit more showmanship here with the kind of arm movement with the bend and stuff. Guitar's lower, and it looks like that's it could be a P90 pickup. There's another type of pickup that I forget the name of that looks a lot like a P90 that isn't a P90. Please, a few people in the comments that know what I'm talking about, do let me know. But either way, these pickups tend to have a more kind of treble, a slightly kind of scratchier sound, and more dynamic range as well. So what's interesting is it's that same as before. So that's kind of the rhythm he was doing before when the other guitarist was taking a solo, and he's using that as a bass to launch his own solo from. So there's some cool lines there, but some stuff I've noticed about the guitar and to elaborate on the pickup a bit more. So if you look closely, it's just a one pickup guitar, I think. Just double check that. Yeah, so I think there's just a bridge pickup because I can't see a pickup selector on it. What this means is it'll have inherently a kind of brighter tone because you get a brighter sound to that end than you do here. A bit more muffled here. A bit pingier here. So the two knobs there are probably a volume and a tone. If you roll your tone pot down, it makes things more muffled. So you can bring it on the bridge pickup, roll the tone all the way down, and we get more room. A fuzzier sound, whereas if we flip back up, a bit more brightness to it. The other cool thing here is if you look above the scratch plate on his guitar, it's a really nice natural wooden finish to the body. There's all sorts of white marks here. This is probably from doing rhythm and strumming over the guitar, and through the years, I would guess, with how marked it is, hitting the body from time to time. So it's got a really nice wear mark, which makes it look like he's probably had this for quite a while and gigged with it quite extensively. Tiny bit of hybrid pick in there. I'm just going to pop that back. This is right boring guitar nerdy stuff. If you watch the picking hand, the where would we be there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. So double stop is when you play two notes together. Quite often guitarists bend with these. And what he did here specifically was hybrid picking, so you might notice the finger, the middle finger from the right hand on this. Comes in. So it's just a technique rather than picking both strings. Just decided to hybrid pick it. It's one of these techniques that once you start using a bit, it just pops up in your playing in a fairly unconscious way. You get a slightly different sound. If you're hybrid picking, you get more of a snap. There's certain things that can just make playing a little bit easier as well if you're doing kind of string skips or stuff like that. But yes, as I say, pointless nerdy guitar things. Lots of repetition in terms of the ideas, which from a listener point of view is always kind of good, because you can go off on one on a solo and it can be quite impressive, but not as hooky if you're not kind of doing these nice little melodic patterns and repeating them. So some sort of fuzz pedal or something went on there. Yeah, that extra layer of filth coming in. Searching for the right tone there. I think that it was probably a fuzz pedal and it sounded like it had quite a high noise gate, which is why I think his notes were getting choked out a bit there, and he's like, oh, I don't quite want the sound yet, so let's fiddle about and see what tone I want. So that was cool. This is, so when I talked about the kind of brighter pickup that he has, when you do stuff like the octaves over here, the diddly 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 diddly. Oh, I didn't even get that, let's try again. So this is cool because he's, I've not warmed up enough clearly. He's using the kind of funk relaxed wrist to get this triplet thing. And if you have, like, I've got too much gain on, so this octave sounded a bit muddy. But if you listen here with the pickups, he's got the tone dialed in. It's ringing through, it's almost kind of like a bell with how clear it is. And you can see the action really coming from the wrist there rather than the elbow, which would be too much. You can really see it there, floppy funk wrist. I think his rockstar pose. Perhaps noticing the camera here being filmed. Okay. 4. So that, yeah, his way of signalling the band to change was shouting, I think, 1, 2, and then implying the 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're doing that unison line again. Oh, I thought it was going to be okay. This guy seems more of a showman to me. Getting a bass solo as well, alright. That's a powerful bass tone. Yeah, cool. Nice. So what's happened here with the changes? They're going to triplets, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. I'm playing it in this really kind of staccato way that's made the bassist think, okay, I want to do some slap here. And this is like bass solos are a difficult thing to do and keep engaging. Slap is a great way to do it, and this thing of holding down the 4 and then putting a fill in every kind of 4th bar. And here, like, the way the bassist is playing, there's a lot of pop in the way they're hitting the strings. A good attack and kind of get a finger underneath it, so it has this real spanky sound to it. So if you'd thought this was still slap bass listening to it, I'd understand, because you have the slap and the pop, so you have the kind of boom and the sound. And the technique he's using here does make it sound like he's kind of popping the strings. He isn't quite doing a typical pop you'd get from a slap, but it's got this really nice bright, you know, like someone like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers quite often plays like this. That's probably a reference most of us will be able to get to some degree. There might be an envelope filter on the bass there, which kind of makes things go a bit like whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, that wow. It's a very subtle effect. What I was looking over there was at my pedal board in the corner, where I do have an envelope filter in it from a bass setup, and trying to work out a way to record that to showcase it, but I don't think I'll be able to in this video. If you listen out for that kind of slight womp sound, yeah, and a lot of those work on dynamics, so the harder you play, the more kind of a kind of treble pop you get on it. If I can find a decent demo of an envelope filter, I'll link to it with one of the eyes that I think will be up there. Yeah, I'll make a note to do that, because it's a cool sound. It's very subtle. Unless you're kind of listening out for it, you might not necessarily notice it. Typical for kind of funk bass as well, to use that kind of squelchy sound. And then we're just letting the drummer do his thing here, pretty much. Bassist helping to accent where the 1 is the first beat of the bar. Boom. Just to keep time a bit more for the audience and probably for the other fan base as well. So some cool showmanship here, where it's walking away. It's almost like the Crossroads, the Ralph, what's his name? Is it Ralph actually his real name? Or is that his name in the Karate Kid? Anyway, Crossroads, one with Steve Vai, where they kind of do the guitar duel. It's almost like he's walking away, but then, you know, getting tempted back into it by the guitarist. Rising to the occasion. Okay, that one sounded like, oh, listen. Where were we? Were we up there? Okay. So, he might be there. Like, I can't tell what string he's on. Probably this one, judging by how far up the fretboard his hand is. The raising pitch is this. So he's basically going behind the string here and pulling it. So essentially doing it bend while this is happening. You can also kind of, yeah, so you hammer on, trill between these notes. So the trick here is to keep everything muted. So your thumb over the top, it makes it harder to see what I'm doing. And if you can mute anything with this hand as well, like laying a finger. Over these strings here, just to stop a bit of kind of string noise and slop coming through. I also turn his back from the audience, so you don't necessarily see what he's doing. There's a mystique to it. He's also showing off drinking a coffee, I'm guessing, but he's gonna hammer on it from nowhere. So that was a really cool tone. I talked about the tone pot before, and while it was on the neck pickup, that sounded a bit too muddy to just be a neck pickup, so I suspect he might have a modification in his strat where, and as if by magic it appears, the tone pot is a master tone for all the pickups. Usually with strats it's wired that one of them does the bridge and one of them does the middle, and you just kind of leave the neck. But you can modify it so the tone can control all of them, or like the middle and the neck, or the bridge and the neck, or whatever kind of combination you want. So I think that's probably what's done there, just because that's a bit too dull a tone otherwise. Let's just roll this volume down, because that will dull up a sound as well. Less on this guitar because it's got a treble bleed more than a volume rolling thing that I was talking about there. You can hear it's a wee bit softer. If you do the trick on the neck to kind of emulate what he was doing, and all the way up. So there's a bit more kind of treble, a bit more rasp there, and as you roll it down, the tone tends to get a bit softer. What I was mumbling about with a treble bleed mod is there's a capacitor basically on the potentiometer in this volume pot, and what that does is it bleeds some of the treble to the output. So as you roll the volume down, instead of being muddier, it still stays quite kind of crisp, so quite trebly. Not a huge amount, but a bit. What I quite often do with guitars is stick a treble bleed mod in, but have it that you turn it on by popping that switch. So this one, basically when you pull that up, your treble bleed is on. When you push it down, it's off. So cleaner tone again. Quite soft, treble bleed on. So it's a bit of a volume boost because you're getting kind of extra frequencies sent out. But all it's really doing is adding a bit more clarity from letting the treble bleed to the output. As I say, microcosmic minutia things, proper guitar nerdy stuff here. Okay, we're back to it. So there's a kind of a more, I don't want to say rounded tone, but a less trebly tone going on this side as well, so there might be a little bit of tone pot trickery going on there. Back to a kind of brighter sound here. And what they're doing here is kind of short trading rather than taking long solos. It's kind of wee short back and forths, which again is just another nice dynamic shift. So instead of them both taking kind of long freeform solos, they're kind of conforming to like 4 bars each, I think. Yeah, so 2 bars each really. And then we should get. And they're kind of copying each other's. Was that the same? Just double check that. Yeah, so that, and you might notice the hybrid picking again. And again, it's this thing of like when you build up like a bit of a lick vocabulary and you know what key you're in, if a guitarist plays something like that, or you know, one of the kind of standard, you can more or less know what's going on. And of course, what they're doing is you don't just keep playing the same thing for too long. So he plays this thing, does it, and then bends beyond, kind of keeps bending the note up, changes the context a bit. This guy's starting off with the same lick and then changing it again. So let's recap that bit. Keeps bending, and then going into a different lick. So pick tapping over here. What note does it left like there? Yeah, cool. So pick tapping is the same idea as tapping, but instead of using your finger, oops, you use the pick and you use like the edge of it, the side of it. And because you're doing that, you can get this really fast speed on it, and then it sounded like after that, it's doing a kind of slide up, but with more gain than I've got dialed in just now, so you get kind of a cooler sound really. Whole tone maybe? Oh no, he's just gonna go whatever shape he's got there. I can't, my ears aren't picking it out. It's just moving it up a semitone at a time. So basically taking an idea, moving it up a semitone, another semitone, another semitone. It creates dissonance because you're going out a key and some tension too. So there was some cool trem picking and this. Cool, right, so what I think is going on there is... Cool, so I was hearing it as 2 sets of triplets. But it's just 2 notes followed by the triplet. Very cool. And because of the tone and stuff, it's still got that kind of funk vibe, so it's still fitting into this kind of fusion, maybe taking it to fusion rock more than anything else. Yeah, cool. And because he's raised the bar here with the amount of notes per second, it's being responded in kind. So this rock pose is, as well as being showmanship, it's largely, I suspect, the guitar is closer to his body because this guy wears it quite low. So when he's hunched over like this, it's got better reach because your guitar's not down here. You're not destroying your wrist to kind of get at it. And like for like, gone down to his knees. Again, it could be showmanship, but if your guitar is nestled right under here, it's much easier to play than if it's like down at your knees. Hence why I quite often sit like this. Pick tapping. So this is interesting. We've got pick tapping on this side, so you've got the kind of more kind of frantic thing. Yeah, okay, so getting your sound on. And then on the other side we've got kind of more standard finger tapping that you do. Where here we end. So rather than having that kind of pick attack and being on the bridge pickup, so it's more trebly like the other guy's doing. On the neck pickup and a kind of creamier kind of sound to it. So there, pick tapping all the way up on his bridge pickup, because that's the only pickup he's got. And when he's up to here, still tapping in, just a bit of kind of pick scraping, so rubbing the pick against the strings, you get this kind of chirping kind of sound, for lack of a better expression. Better explanation on how to deal with the video with the eye up there. Then to more kind of standard blues rock licks. Physically coming closer together on the stage. Now, what this is suggesting to me is they might end up playing the same lick or bend together, because they're showing each other what they're doing. So if someone's in like kind of this shape here, I start going, I kind of look at you, and you'll be like, all right, okay, you're doing that bend. They might then go up, and it's up to you whether you want to harmonize or go with them. It feels like they might do something like that here. I could be totally wrong. Or maybe they do something like they did before. So trading closer to what each other are playing. It's more of a jam. Okay, right, cool. So like here with the guy with the blue guitar, is he doing one of those? Sounds like it's that one he's doing. So I'd be tempted. Where would it be? I'd be tempted to harmonize it. Or where would the other one be? But yeah. Now he's just doing kind of bend it up. It's a double stop, so I'm going to give myself half a point for that doing the uni bend. So in terms of things being easier to play, the bassist doing that doesn't necessarily make things easier, but it looks cool. So that's, I'd say that was probably more showmanship to kind of complete the power trio than it would be to make life easier in terms of playing a note, just to make things look cooler. Cool, back to the kind of headline. I will pause this to say I think Rabbi Rabbs had told me this one was a cover, so that might be where they know the head, this kind of melody from. Do correct me in the comments, my man, if I'm mistaken there. And this is the kind of thing after that big kind of cascade, that big crescendo. Where do you go? Where are they going to end up? Okay. Cool, right, unison line. It's the best time to go wild in a bassist is during the burnout, so you don't get anyone to play. Yeah, that was very cool. Okay, right, cool. So this is something I'd completely neglected, but it means this dude was playing a guitar that isn't his, which is not always an easy thing to do. Like the more you play, the more familiar you become with different kind of neck shapes and the way different guitars work. I'd completely forgotten that wouldn't be his guitar. The other guitarist just had it off. And I can also see on the back of the guitar there a huge amount of wood that's worn off, which will just be from it rubbing against probably his belt and kind of clothes. And again, it's just a sign of like a well-worn, well-played guitar. Looks like they both just had a lot of fun with it. I think that was a plectrum being thrown into the crowd. That's awesome. You can't beat a little bit of impromptu shred, can you? So at this point in time, I'm aware that if that was a 12-minute video, knowing me, I'd probably wrapped it on for a rather large amount of time. So if there are specific licks or things you'd like me to go into in this, do hit me up in the comments and I'll try and get around to that as soon as I can. But at the risk of creating like a 5-hour long video, I'm going to cut myself off there. If you yourself have requests or something you'd really like me to check out, make sure to help Patreon because those always get bumped to the top. But cheers guys, hope you're having a good one.